And look, as it stands, the Champions League final is set to be played in St Petersburg in Russia, but amidst the Ukraine-Russia crisis, it could be moved. Rangnick, who worked at Lokomotiv Moscow before taking up the role at United, says the wider political issues involved are a far bigger concern than any football match.
It's still a long way until the final. So, and if we are to have a chance, we need to beat Atletico first. And we are fully aware that this is not the easiest of all draws that we could get. And what would happen then, this is something for UEFA and maybe even for some politicians to decide upon. I think we all hope, not only here in England, but in the whole of Europe, if not in the rest of the world, that things will de-escalate. Nobody could really be interested in a sort of war within Europe. So, and this is more important, actually, than a Champions League game, if we're honest.
Yeah, Ralf Rangnick hitting the nail on the head there, really, in his sentiments. Our chief reporter, Kaveh Solhekol, has got more on this story. So where are we with it? Are we likely to see this final changed?
Well, UEFA are considering moving the Champions League final away from St Petersburg in direct response to Russia's latest invasion of Ukraine. Now, the final is due to be played at the Gazprom Arena. It's a magnificent stadium, holds 68,000 fans. It is named after Gazprom, who are the biggest energy company in Russia, majority owned by the Russian government. Interestingly, Gazprom are also one of UEFA's biggest sponsors. I think they pay UEFA something like £40 million a year to be one of UEFA's main commercial partners and backers of the Champions League. But at the moment, UEFA are considering moving the final away from the Gazprom Arena. Now, last year's final was also due to be played in St Petersburg. That was moved to Porto because of the pandemic. The final the year before was also moved from Istanbul to Lisbon because of the pandemic. So UEFA know what it takes to move these finals, and they can do it at short notice. So the noises coming out of UEFA at the moment are, look, this is a very, very serious situation. There are far more important things than football going on in the world at the moment. But if we had to move the final, we would be able to do it quite easily. It's something that we've done before. Now, the Prime Minister, of course, has been speaking in the House of Commons this afternoon, and he was asked by the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey, about whether the Champions League final was going to be moved.
And, Mr. Speaker, on his point about sporting events, as I said earlier on, I think it inconceivable that major international football tournaments can take place in Russia after, as I say, the invasion of a sovereign country.
So Boris being quite clear there, he doesn't want it there. So if it does get moved, where does it go?
Well, look, a lot of people are thinking maybe Wembley is a possibility. We've had Champions League finals at Wembley. We had the Euros final as well, although there were serious problems with that game. I think the issue with Wembley is that the weekend of May the 28th, which is when the Champions League final is due to be held, there are playoffs at Wembley. There's the League Two playoff final and also the Championship playoff final. So it'd be complicated for it to be held at Wembley. I suppose alternatives, you have to think of major cities who would be able to cope with around 100,000 supporters from two different clubs coming for the weekend. So you're thinking of places like Rome, Madrid, Milan, Paris, Munich, Barcelona, and also let's not forget Portugal, because in the last 2 years, UEFA have turned to Portugal to help them out, Porto and Lisbon. So both those are a possibility as well.
Do you think they would go there again, though? Would that seem a little bit, you know...
To Portugal again? Yeah, I think once you've been there twice, and the reason they went to Portugal was because those finals were being held during a pandemic. So it made sense from that point of view. But I think this time round, UEFA would be tempted to go somewhere else.
Just finally, what about the World Cup playoffs? Are they going to be moved around?
Well, look, next month we've got World Cup playoffs, Russia and Ukraine are both playing in those playoffs, but they will not be playing each other. As far as Ukraine are concerned, they're playing Scotland. If they beat Scotland, then they play Wales or Austria for a place in the World Cup finals in Qatar. And as far as Russia are concerned, they're playing Poland, and if they beat Poland, then it would be a game against Sweden or the Czech Republic. And if they win that, they would get into the World Cup finals in Qatar. But I would add that there has to be a question mark over whether Russia would be allowed to play in the playoffs next month. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. There's obviously a lot of diplomatic pressure being put on governing bodies to stop Russia hosting events and also taking part in events. So remains to be seen whether they play in the World Cup playoffs. But at the moment, they're due to be playing Poland. And if they beat Poland, then it's Sweden or the Czech Republic.
All right, thanks ever so much, Kaveh.